California scared off its biggest insurer. More could follow. Why would more follow? Well, because this is in response to basically laws that California has put through and has had in place for the last 20 years. Some since the 1980s. And insurance companies are like, okay, yeah, we can't really comply with this with the laws we've got on board. So, moving forward, yeah, we're not able to stay in business in Cali. We out. And that's what State Farm did. All right. Today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit more about the mechanics of why that's happening. And it's pretty basic to understand. But you know what? I want to play you a video super quick of an insurance ad that I've been hearing a lot lately that I find to be complete nonsense.
At Amica, we provide you with something more than auto, home, or life insurance. It's empathy.
You've got the love. You've got the love.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Don't worry. I'm here to help you through this.
Thank you.
Because at Amica, your coverage always comes with compassion.
You ever know of a insurance company that's compassionate? You ever know of an insurance company that's empathetic? Oh, you've got a claim? Let us help you out. We'll give you more money than you were even expecting. Oh, yeah. Well, here's your offered payout. Yeah, I know it's not a lot, but times are tough and we've got a lot of people to insure and some crazy stuff's going on out there. Therefore, here's what we're going to give you. And it's just terrible, right? It's like, why do I pay insurance? This ad by Amica is it's mind blowing because it's based on empathy. You know what? Insurance companies aren't really known for being empathetic. It's just a thing, right? They're there. It's a business. They're going to take your money. They're going to hedge some bets. They're going to try and cover everything as best they can. But ultimately, they are money-making machines because they're really good at playing the odds. The odds are not in your favor. But when you need insurance, you need to have insurance, right? It's like one of those things where, you're never going to need it. But if you did, you'd be hosed without it. But empathy, trying to get me to get a policy because of empathy, it's like, you could probably sell me on anything else. Hey, we're good at making money. Therefore, we're good at analyzing risk. If we give you a policy, that means we're going to have money to cover your whatever event it is that happens. Do you feel good about that? And I'd be like, all right, at least they're being honest. They're being honest. Empathy from an insurance company? Not so much. Not so much. That ad keeps playing on, I don't pay for Spotify. I probably should. I'm just kind of tired of paying for a whole bunch of nonsense, right? I get it. Everybody, including myself. Hey, support reasonabletv.com. It's only $10 a month. You could be paying that $10 to Spotify and I wouldn't blame you, right? That's not a very good sell on my part, but I don't really sell here. I just, we roll the camera and we talk and you guys think it's either good or marginal and you let me know because you either watch it or you don't. It's how we're doing things, right? For nearly 35 years, California has been famously protective of insurance policyholders through laws and policies aimed at limiting rate increases. But the system is coming under scrutiny following the stunning announcement last Friday by State Farm, the largest property insurer in California, that it is no longer writing new policies for homeowners or businesses in the state. A number of other insurance companies have also pulled out because they're just not financially able to make it go. Experts say State Farm's decision highlights a flaw in California policies. California has policies that have a flaw in them? Oh my word, that's not good. That effectively blocks insurers from considering climate change in setting premiums and discourages them from seeking rate increases sufficient to cover the state's growing wildfire risk. Now, you've had a drought for a long time, right? You're going to have some wildfire risk. Plus, when you make it so onerous as to where you can build houses and you got no land left and then you build real close to the forest, stuff that can actually catch fire in California. I don't know if you'd call that a forest, treed area or area with vegetation. Extensive natural foliage buffers the subject property from a nearby 16-lane arterial. How's that for a comment? I wrote that probably 1,000 times during my career as an appraiser. Not once did anybody question it because it was such a bunch of gobbledygook that this guy sounds like he roughly knows what he's talking about. Maybe. Who cares? He's got the right initials by his name. So, 2 thumbs up. In addition, the policies have created insurance premiums that are far too low and are forcing insurers to pull back their coverage in California to remain profitable. We talk often about how shoplifting is affecting retail America. If you have enough shoplifters come in and steal from your store, and that bottom line, the 5-finger discount, goes right out the front door with a whack of profit, one thing's going to happen. You're going to close down that store. State Farm's store for insurance in California got pulled, and this is what's going on. State Farm's retreat could compel other California insurers to take similar action, said Michael Wara, director of the Climate and Energy Policy Program at Stanford, whatever. The other insurers learned on Friday, and now they will all meet to decide, how do we respond? How do we follow the lead? Wara said. If experience is any guide, probably they will. It's like they've been given permission. If it was some smaller insurer, maybe no one would care, but this is State Farm. For State Farm to take this action, it's essentially saying, we don't want to grow in California market, and we would prefer to shrink in the most valuable real estate market in the country. Wara said, this is a situation that threatens the broader economic picture of California. We often talk about policy in California, policy that pushes out business, policy that pushes out Joe Rogan, policy that pushes out Tesla, policy that pushes out people who don't want to pay exorbitant state income tax to a state that is giving them nothing back in the form of services. Many of the restrictions on insurers originated with Proposition 103. It's a ballot measure California voters approved in 1988. There's the late 80s reference. Amid soaring automobile insurance rates. For property insurers, Proposition 103 has made it almost impossible to set premiums. I know this is going to get a little bit boring, but I'll break it down as quick and I'll make this as painless as possible. How about that? It's only going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt me. Yeah. You know, that last famous saying, I'm doing this because I love you. And you're like, For property insurers, Property 103 has made it almost impossible to set premiums based on computer models that project future risks, including climate impacts. So they can't look forward. So they're forced to use the data from previous years, and that isn't going to reflect the market that they're insuring each year moving forward. All right. That's because Proposition 103 requires modeling used by insurers to be made public, which modeling companies want to avoid. So they could disclose what they've got going on modeling wise. Yeah, not so much. It wouldn't look good. The optics would not be good. Not good. No, we don't want to do that. We want to keep that on the down low. Instead, insurers are setting rates based on their losses over the preceding 20 years. All right, this is what happened to us historically. We're going to do it based on that. But then what is physically happening in reality is something different. And State Farm is saying, hey, without our ability to insure based on current data moving forward, extrapolated from what's happened, and we're going to predict what's going forward. I don't know if you know this, but insurance companies, they are basically just, analyzing risk. They're like a casino. They're going to make it so that, if something bad does happen to you, you're going to be somewhat covered, but they have to make sure that they have the reserves and reinsure to make sure that they are covered in case something really disastrous has happened. And what's happened in California? You got a little thing called wildfires. Yeah. Burning up people's houses. Not good. Yeah. Some big payouts there. Yeah. Tricky. And so their modeling doesn't reflect that. And so they aren't able to increase their premiums to reflect reality moving forward. It's a little bit like driving your car using the rear view mirror. Okay. All right. All right. I see where we were, but I don't know where we're going. So we're flying kind of blind here. That's what they're saying, right? It's like driving your car using the rearview mirror when your windshield is right there in front of you. Yep, but your windshield's blacked out, right? It's a blacked out. It's a jewelry store during a Black Lives Matter march. Blacked out. Yeah. Don't want anybody to see in here. Nothing to see here. When insurers analyze the past 20 years to set rates, they are not fully capturing recent increases in California's wildfire risk as climate-driven hotter temperatures have made the state's forests and grasslands drier and more combustible, experts say. All right, whether it's climate change or whether we got a little, drought going on, however you want to look at it, more fires are happening, right? For example, in the 20 years from 2003, from 03 to 22, wildfires burned an average of 1 million acres a year in Cali. This is according to something. And then in the 6 years from 2017 through 2022, so 17 through 22, California wildfires burned an average of 1.8 million acres, almost double acres a year, and destroyed or damaged nearly 51,000 structures in total. Because now you've got a situation where the wildfires aren't happening way out in the dingles out there. They're happening close in to residential subdivisions because that's where they're being built. They're being built in areas that, this is the land we got left. All right. Yeah. It's close to the natural vegetation. Build it anyway. It's all going to be fine. Oh yeah. And then an entity like State Farm says, we don't have the ability to charge accordingly. We're out. The problem in California is that the risk is changing pretty quickly, especially if you think over 2 decades. 2 decades is just not fit for the problem. Talking about using analysis from, the past 20 years of rear view mirror driving to try and analyze what it's going to take premium wise to cover things moving forward. Nancy Watkins, a California-based principal at Millennium Insurance Consultant, said the retrospective method is an extremely simple rate-making model that in practice has totally failed to anticipate the growing risk in California due to factors like housing growth in high-risk areas. I'll build it there. It'll work out. What could go wrong? Vegetation buildup. Stuff is growing. And when stuff gets bigger, there's more stuff to catch on fire. I know that's not a very technical analysis, but that's what it is. The effects of climate change on longer fire seasons, hotter temperatures, drier air. So we got that going on. And the insurance companies can't make money. So they're like, yep, we out. We done. None of that is factored into a backward-looking formula, talking about the current statistics of what's been going on moving forward. So our immediate focus is on helping consumers navigate their options. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, here we go. I had the 6.9% solution. So we've got this deal. Another problem created by Proposition 103 in Cali is that if an insurer seeks a premium increase of 7% or more, consumer advocates are allowed to become interveners and challenge the proposed rates. Here's policy. All right. Protect the consumer. The consumer is everything. And then when that collides with, the insurance company is pulling out. Oh God. Still protect the consumer who no longer has the ability to choose, from that insurance company to insure them. The biggest casualty insurer in California. How'd that policy work out again? They just pulled out? Yeah. To get back to you on that one. The result is that many property insurers have sought rate increases of 6.9%. That avoids the involvement of an intervener, but also generates insufficient premiums. So you're not able to charge enough to make a go of it with how much you're paying out, right? That worked okay when the real inflation rate was 2% or less. You mean before our current president got in office? What was it when Trump was in office? Was it like 1.8%? It was under 2 for sure, right? Interesting. Weird. Something else. Wara also noted that a 6.9% rate increase would generate a post-inflation increase of up to 4.9%. Now inflation is 5%, so insurers are getting a 1% or 2% real increase. Not enough to make a go of it. right? We're still stuck in the 6.9% world, which doesn't contemplate high inflation. That is another impact of high inflation. So even as they're trying to collect more in premiums with a 6.9% increase bump, with inflation, they're getting stripped out. Now, you might say, I could give a crap less about what the insurance company's financial position is until you no longer have them as an available opportunity to insure your. How's that? Yeah. So now you've got fewer players. Do you think prices are going to go down as you've got fewer players in an insurance market? I'll give you a moment to contemplate that. I'll let you cheat. The answer is no. The answer is no. Some jackass out there is going to say, oh, Sean, you got this and this and this. I'm broadly generalizing because I'm a real estate guy, and that's what I do when I talk about insurance stuff that I don't really know 100%. I'm reading a story. I've got, I've got broad strokes on this stuff. I've got more than broad strokes. But let's be honest, I am not an insurance guy. But these are even issues that a residential real estate guy can figure out, right? This isn't rocket science. This isn't rocket science. California has created, I'm just going to bail there because that's about all you need on that article. California has created situation after situation after situation where they think they're trying to help folks. Oh, we're going to cover you here. We're going to do this. We're going to help you out here. And in reality, it just spanks everybody on the backside because now you've got the largest insurer that just said, hasta la vista, baby. And they're not going to go, moving forward. So officials in California, they're like, oh. Did the insurance commissioner in Texas do this? Do they have books like this on the law in Texas? Again, rhetorical question. The answer is no. How about Florida? Is Florida have onerous restrictions on insurance and insurance carriers? Do you hear of any insurance companies pulling out of Florida? You do from the hurricane standpoint and the flood standpoint. FEMA's got that whole thing where, all the icebergs are melting and what's going to be, lakefront property is now going to be underwater in the oceans. And then you got all the bigwigs buying the oceanfront property. You're like, I don't know about that. So you've got insurance in all different areas of the country changing rapidly. Florida is an example of hurricane season. Yeah, that's not good. Flooding. Yeah, that's not good. But they're able to work it through, right? You don't have stuff here like, companies pulling out because of policy set in 1988. Just don't have that. They'd be able to work something out. So again, due to California's policy, who's going to suffer from this? The consumer that, government officials and the consumer voted in those officials and, all the state agency stuff. It's like, okay, how you guys doing? Well, we just lost another insurer. That's not good. That's going to leave a mark, and it will. It'll impact people. It already is. They've already had a bunch of insurers pull out because they simply can't make a go of it. This is just one more example of onerous regulation that doesn't need to be because they're trying to protect the consumer. And in fact, the reality is, even less protection for the consumer. It's like, okay, we're going to really ratchet down on shoplifting. And then the shoplifting continues. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going to cut the store's hours down by a couple hours. We're not going to be open at night. And then, okay. Yeah, we can't really work with this. And the same situation is still moving forward. Boom. Done. We're out. We're closing the store down. That's what you've got here. You've got a commercial enterprise, State Farm, that is basically saying, no can do. This doesn't make any sense. So will California make some changes? That's got to be in the works, right? It's got to be in the works. I don't follow this issue as closely as I do a lot of other things, but this definitely impacts real estate. I mean, if you've got fewer insurers, it's just how it goes. It's not that hard to figure out. But if you want some empathy, I got a good insurance carrier for you. Yeah. Empathy and insurance. Those two don't go hand in hand, do they? No, it's just this gut wrenching experience when you have to make any kind of insurance claim. Massive amounts of, emails back and forth, telephone calls. And got to tell you, the least thing that's in there is empathy. There ain't no empathy. It's how can we give you as little money as we can, and you are going to battle us because you need as much in return because you've paid all these policies and now you're going to take a hit on your insurance rates. So you're going to want to demand as much money from us. And then you get attorneys involved and it's just this big debacle. And the general consumer does not benefit from this. They don't. Because they'll either get their insurance dropped or their premium will go through the roof. That's the thing with insurance, right? And there's so much stress on insurance right now. Think about all these break-ins, all these robberies. I mean, talk about criminal activity rising and insurance companies having to cover a bunch of that. I mean, you're having areas that business owners are saying, hey, I can't get insurance anymore. And that's when things get really nasty. There's still carriers out there in California. Just not the biggest one, in the market right now. There's still carriers for companies in Portland, but it's expensive and there's becoming fewer and fewer because why would you insure in an area where you're going to have to pay out? Why would you insure in an area like State Farm has been doing in an area where the economics, you can't make a profit? And that's where a lot of the policy is put in place by folks who have never run a business, never had to think about profit. Never had to think about, this business may not be viable moving forward with this plan. They don't care. They do not care. It's like, we're going to ram this down your throat and you're going to take it until State Farm doesn't take it. And they say, bye-bye. And that's what's happened. So I hope some of this was, a little bit more of an explanation of what you've had go on. This isn't new stuff. And I probably wildly oversimplified it, but that's kind of what I do. And I try and make it, a little bbit easier to digest in bite-sized pieces. And, if I skip over stuff, it's because I find it boring. I don't think it's that important. So if there's, hey, Sean, you missed that one line there. That was a really good one. Yeah, probably. Catch it next time. Make sure you're subscribed. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.